All right, welcome to Let Freedom Ring. My guest this week is my friend Mike Lamonday. Mike, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and Mike is a new father. How you getting any sleep these days, or whatnot?
No, trying to. She turns 9 months tomorrow.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's really exciting. I like seeing all the pictures on Facebook. Yeah, we'll get right into it. Just want to address. We know there's a lot of tension in the country right now. So everybody, it's one thing after another right now in the U.S. So everybody, try to keep your heads up. But Mike, let's get to know you a little bit. Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire. Born and raised for 18 years. Love the state, love the city. For a stint, I went out to Colorado Springs in Colorado. Served in the military out there and then moved back. Right now, I'm in Hudson right now.
Awesome. And Mike, thank you for your service to this country. It's very appreciated. I know your time in Colorado too. I believe, weren't you in the newspaper or something at some point there?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I got attacked in a bathroom and put 2 guys in the hospital.
Yeah. I remember the first time you told me that story. I'm like, oh, that's unreal. And so what's one thing everybody should know about you, Mike?
I'm very competitive. I love being competitive in everything that I do, whether it's sports, whether it's a job, whether it's just learning. I'm very competitive in everything I do.
Awesome. I can agree with that. I've been on the field, the softball and football field with you. So, and what does it mean to you to be an American? Sticking with the theme of the show.
For me, being an American means the freedoms that others don't. I've been to third world countries and I know what people don't have. And that is the biggest thing to me. Like, everyone here has freedoms that everywhere else doesn't have.
Yeah. A lot of countries that, they don't get to do, they don't get to have shows like this. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, it's going to bring us right into current events now. Something that's been dominating our lives for the last couple months. We don't know if there's even an end in sight. How has your life changed during the COVID-19 outbreak?
Honestly, like, for the most part, I'm an essential worker.
Mm-hmm.
So my job hasn't changed a bit. Honestly, it's better than it was last year.
Okay.
I sell wall pumps and septic pumps. So
Yep.
everyone's home shitting and I'm selling stuff.
We need that.
But I mean, like, the things that are affecting me are sports. I can't play sports right now. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, that's been a big issue. And we're going to talk a lot about that, because if you've been following the softball community on Facebook, a lot of wild stuff happening when it comes to that. Also in current events, so obviously a lot of racial tensions in the country right now. The officers have all been arrested in the murder of George Floyd. The head officer, and I'm not, just because I don't really want to use their names, because I'd rather focus on the, you don't like to put too much emphasis on the bad guys. But the head guy, he's looking at a 2nd-degree murder charge. They do the right thing here by arresting all 4 cops?
So from the video, I think that it comes down to really the guy that was kneeling on his neck.
Yep.
The other 2 are maybe complicit, maybe. But the one that's standing up, like, I know crowd control. You need somebody to protect your back if somebody comes in and tries to harm you guys. So I don't know about the third one. And 2 out of the 4 were biracial.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the charges are equally met or made to seem like it's just white cops doing this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think you're right with being complacent, and we don't know. I think, and I was talking to somebody about this. We don't really know what the rank of each of those officers were. I don't really know how that's all going to go down. I definitely feel like this was one of the more heartbreaking things I've seen. He was someone had to step in. He went limp at one point. Why
No,
you
no,
know
completely understandable. I don't think it's a right thing. I think that
yeah
the guy that killed him deserves a long time,
yeah.
and justice should be served. But I do not think that everyone knew what was going on at that time.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's why, at the end of the day, we have a court system. And hopefully, and I know that it's just a complicated thing. I'm glad that they have all gotten charges. They'll have their day in court. We will see how this all kind of plays out. Just heartbreaking stuff, very heartbreaking stuff. This stuff it's got to stop. And hopefully, things do. Now, a lot of protests going on as well in the country, and it looks like depending on where you look on the news, a lot of peaceful stuff, but then a lot of stuff that's getting a little more serious. I mean, we had some issues even in Manchester, New Hampshire, the other day. Um, what's your take on it? I mean, I do feel like you have your right to protest. Um, what's your take on everything kind of going on? I mean, the country is just crazy right now.
Well, for me, being a veteran, it's I believe what they're protesting for is right. I do. But when you start getting violent and rioting places, like stealing stuff, that's not how you make a movement.
Yeah,
Like like the word whenever people are out there protesting, I'll go side by side with somebody and protest for what happened to George Floyd. But I'm not going to go and watch somebody loot a business and smash their business in. Like these are local communities for a lot of these people, especially in like lower income places. Like,
yeah.
so why are you going to destroy that as soon as the economy's building back up?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that we have to realize there's a difference between a protester and a looter. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think the media misses the mark on that quite a bit. Um, but I think you're right. If you're destroying your community, that's not good either. And I understand people are angry. And sometimes these things. I mean, we have a history of this in the country when situations like this happens. I'm hoping tensions can start to calm down a little bit. But you're right. We want to support and we want to protest too. But the looting, not something. It's not easy to get. You can't really get behind that.
No.
Um, that brings us to former defense Secretary of Defense James Mattis. Actually had had some statements against Trump. He basically said enough's enough, and he believes that um, Trump is the most dangerous thing to our Constitution. They did work together for a little bit. Did you have a chance to see anything about what James Mattis had to say?
No, I did. And I really can't get behind what Mattis is saying. Like for me, I know we've talked. Like
Yep.
I'm center and I lean right.
Yep.
So, and I think what Trump has been doing is okay. Like I don't see him being a divider. I don't. Um, but when it comes to General Mattis, like he's more of just a person that works with the people.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, what? Now, because you say that Trump doesn't divide, some of his rhetoric feels that way. What do you think that the? Do you think? What do you think the president could say to unite everybody if you were in his shoes?
To be honest with you, he can't say anything
Yeah.
because the media will attack him on every word.
Yeah, they do have the feud between Trump and the media very well documented. It's tough for me. I'd like to. Me and you, we fundamentally disagree on Trump, but that's okay. We're still friends, and
It's
it's
America.
yeah. And you're right. It's America and entitled to our opinion. What did you think though of Trump bashing him on Twitter? It kind of it felt very uncalled for because Trump was all about Mattis, and then wasn't when he resigned.
No, I understand, and like he takes things personal. That's how he is, and he just shoots from the hip, like which is not a bad thing. In politics, a lot of it is cover up.
Mm-hmm.
Like be the smooth talker and just move on from there. Whereas Trump is, you know, like if somebody says something about me, I'm going to call him out.
He does do that, and I have heard a lot of my conservative friends, that lean more right, that some of the stuff they don't support with Trump, but a lot of them do have an issue with his Twitter. Do you ever, they may support his policies, but a lot of them don't like the Twitter aspect of President Trump.
No, so I do have a little bit of an issue, but he is the first president to actually use or that media to talk to the people. Like no other president has ever done that. So, like he's talking directly to the people on that. So how can you fault him for saying something that comes to his mind? Are you going to fault anyone that talks about whatever they feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I hear where you're coming from because I mean the president should have the same First Amendment rights as anybody else. Um, it's tough for me because in his position, um, it is wild to follow though. If you actually go through it, it's pretty wild.
It,
Um, it is like they're running thoughts in his mind. But yeah, he's definitely. You'll never say that Trump isn't interesting. That's for sure.
yeah.
That's gonna bring us into pop culture. Now I know you did not follow the Tiger King very much. I just want to touch briefly on. Have you heard anything? Do you know who Carol Baskins is?
Yeah, I see stuff on Facebook all the time.
Okay. Now you've probably heard, a lot of people believing that she did murder her husband. The evidence kind of stays clear. Not only is Joe Exotic in jail, it looks like his zoo is now going to be in the hands of Carol Baskins. So she literally took.
They arch enemies.
Yeah, but she had him in court. So I do highly recommend watching this because it's a train wreck that you truly can't look away from. It's. I'm telling you, Mike, I'm highly recommending it. Just give it a chance. Watch it once. It'll blow your mind. But let's talk about some things that you can recommend to the viewers to watch. Mike, what are your top 5 favorite movies?
Favorite movies?
Yep.
So I actually have watched your episodes, and I kind of prepared for this.
I like that.
Most of mine are more military based.
Mm-hmm.
I got Saving Private Ryan.
Yes,
everyone should watch.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a great movie, especially like 3/4 of the way through, and you see just somebody like being such a baby when he realizes his buddy's dead, and then he survives. It's crazy. Lone Survivor.
Yep. That's Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
Yep. I enjoyed that.
And when that first came out, that was, I think, the closest to what was going on with me overseas. So It really hit deep. The Matrix trilogy.
Even the third one?
You can't have the first two without the third.
It's true. I it's funny because I remember leaving the theater going like, I don't know if I just expected more but I do love the Matrix.
But they're talking about coming out with another one.
Oh geez. All those guys are old, like they're up there in age at this point, right?
What do you mean? Keanu doesn't age.
No, he doesn't. He does date women his own age, though, and social media was applauding him for that, for being a Hollywood star dating someone his own age. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are the others?
One that I've heard before, Remember the Titans, actually a couple times.
Love that. That's come up
one
a
of my
lot.
all-time favorites. Like I was gonna say replacements for sports, but that's another Keanu Reeves, so I can't do that.
Fair enough.
And then Happy Gilmore.
Yes. Oh, you know what? That's interesting to bring, because we're going to talk about he'll come up eventually in this episode. No, those are all good movies. A lot of people staying at home right now. We are starting to open up a little bit more. Any shows that you could recommend to the viewers to binge watch?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot whenever I get home from work. I got Band of Brothers, which was an old one, but if nobody's ever seen that
is fantastic. Yeah.
Like
great.
I can't, like, that's better than any war movie I've ever seen, is that series. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Bosch.
No.
On Amazon Prime.
Okay.
He's actually a detective, and he goes around solving murders, and there's 6 seasons of it, so you can binge watch that.
I like that.
And then another one is 12 Monkeys.
All right, now what's that? What's that off of? Because I'm not familiar with that.
So I actually started watching that before this whole coronavirus thing started, and it's about a pandemic that happened.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
And they actually travel through time to try and fix it, and I think there's 5 seasons of it, but they go from fixing it to making it worse to fixing it to making it worse. Like, it's just back and forth because time travel, you don't know what's going to happen. And that 2 of those are on Hulu. Bosch is on Prime. So
yeah, I'm interested to see that, because what was the movie I was watching the other day? What's the one that came? I don't know if you remember this. It was like 2012 or 11, I think. It was about a pandemic like this that broke out, and I can't think of it right now.
Pandemic?
Huh?
Was it called Pandemic?
No. Oh my gosh, it's gonna come to me later. But I was watching that for a little bit, and it's funny because they had a lot of the news people in the movies that we actually see on the news right now while we're actually in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. It wasn't called Outbreak. Wow. Contagion. Is that? Yeah. I think that's what
that's
it was
a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Right off the bat, you see like they rip, what's her name? And I'm just blanking on actresses' names. But anyways, let's go into sports, because we got some good news today. The NBA has announced when exactly they're going to come back. The NHL, I know you're a big hockey guy, is coming back. Now they're going to be in empty arenas. Who do you got? Who's winning the NBA? Who's winning the NHL?
Honestly, I do not follow the NBA. I never really did. Never really got into it. So I mean, you got to root for a home team.
Yep.
Celtics.
Yeah. I'd love to see a Celtics Lakers final. That's always like the best, that rivalry.
I mean, from what I heard though, Celtics weren't doing that great.
They're the 3 seed out of the East. So I mean, and Lakers got LeBron, and the Lakers they're the team I think that's going to win it. But with all this layoff, now I'm curious to see if that will change. I think the results aren't as predictable now.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing going into hockey. Like, Bruins were very hot, very, very hot. And I was excited to see them make the awesome playoff run that they were bound to have. And I don't know what's going to happen because everyone's been sitting on the sideline.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it's a super long layoff. That's not, it wasn't even a couple of weeks. It's been 3 months now, I think. So.
That's the thing with hockey or baseball. People get on big streaks, And if you're sitting down for half a year,
Yeah.
like it's a new season after that.
Yeah. So are you willing to make a bold prediction? Can the Bruins pull it off?
I think they can. I do. Like going into what they had, and I mean, even though they had to social distance, like they're all healthy now. They're
Yeah.
gonna go into this with what they had, with a chip on their shoulder, and keep playing as hard as they did.
I think you're right. You're right. Injuries too. I mean, you've had this layoff. Now everybody should be fully healthy. Get a little bit of training camp, see how that kind of goes. I'm really interested to see this because I've watched a little bit of the KBO, the Korean baseball organization. And that's baseball. And baseball is kind of, it's not as intense, obviously, as hockey or basketball. I wonder what the intensity level is going to be without a crowd. Like, it's going to be weird. It's going to be
No, it
super
definitely
weird.
is.
I mean, especially no one's going to be banging on the boards. The NBA, no one's going to be yelling during free throws. Like, it's going to be I'm excited. It's going to be so weird.
But I mean, that was like UFC and WWE, what you love.
Yep.
Like, just you can hear everything.
Yeah. WrestleMania was weird this year. I will say that. Now they're starting to use wrestlers as the crowd to try to make some noise because wrestling is the fans, a lot of it. You know what I mean? And UFC, that's the other thing. I didn't see the UFC fights yet. I don't know if they were on pay-per-view and I didn't want to pay for it. Though ESPN's had a few of them, right?
I think so. But Joe Rogan was talking about it, and he goes, it was so weird because you could hear every single punch,
Oh
like
yeah.
every single hit. Like it wasn't like those fans cheering over. It was just like people just beating each other.
Yeah, it's got to be weird. The one time like I saw someone who was pretty quiet. I won't use his real name, but you might know him as Scooter in college. We'll talk about who he really is after, but I saw him get cold cocked one time, and that punch was like you heard the whole thing because it was pretty much like had de-escalated when it happened. So yeah, there's nothing. It never sounds good, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think baseball? Do you think they can get on the same page and make some kind of a season happen?
I today was the first day that I heard like that it really come to an agreement. But you can't come to an agreement when you're paying people that much money.
Yeah.
You can't. Like baseball needs to figure it out. Like you're paying people astronomical numbers, and like it's gonna end up being like the replacements.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of minor leaguers out of work completely.
Yeah.
Like, does MLB get to the point? It's like we need TV revenue. We'll just pay these guys because they can't pay the players the full amount. They're not going to do that, you know. So
Yeah, I think that they will at some point. Like I mean, they're missing out on everything, and everybody misses sports. I
yeah,
miss watching sports. Like I miss playing sports. I miss all about sports.
you know, and that's the thing about baseball. The weather is nice. It's getting warmer. I mean, what's the nicest thing to do than just even in the background, just have the game on, have a few beers. You know what I mean? Like it's like a piece of us is just gone,
Yeah.
right now. All right, that brings us into because we're talking about wanting to play sports. Both of us have played a lot of softball over the years. A lot of controversial things going on in the softball community right now. I don't know if you saw the post on the U-Trip New Hampshire page yesterday. Did you have a chance to see that?
No, I didn't see that.
So I'm not gonna, obviously not gonna call people out by name or anything like that. But someone called out people for having I guess what you'd call underground softball tournaments, using closed fields, having people spend money to be in these tournaments, and they got called out about it. How do you feel? And the reason they were called out is because it could affect permits later once we're okay to play. How do you feel about people going against the orders of the closed fields?
I mean, they're public fields. They're paid for by the local government. Like, that's who takes care of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're gonna do that and go against what's going on right now, like, I'm not a big fan of the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it is as big as it has been played out to be.
Okay.
But if they're telling you to stay off those fields, like, if somebody were to come to me and be like, "Hey, don't be on that field," I'm gonna listen to them.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's been a lot of arguing, and the argument kind of ends with the field's closed. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people have been taking batting practice. I just think with what we're in right now, to run a tournament and ask people to pay into it, I can't really get behind that. I can't say I would attend that. But I'm also teams are trying to use this time to make money for their tournament teams.
Yeah, you can't do that. No.
So what they're doing is, like any cash tournament, well, we're going to do this payout, but the team's going to take X amount of dollars. The thing is, there's one particular team, to my understanding, that's doing it while no one else is doing it. So it's like this giant, kind of. It doesn't sit well with me. I don't agree with it. I would never tell anybody what to do, because your life is your life and you do what you want. But if it meant we lose permits when we can play, and I was doing what I was supposed to do, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. You know what I've been doing since I couldn't play sports? I took up fly fishing.
Yeah, that sounds. We go. What do you fish for mostly?
I'm going for trout.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that I've never done before, and I can't play sports, so I went with something that's more finesse instead of aggressive. Like, I'm an aggressive player, so I want to try something that I could be finesse with instead of going bass fishing and dropping a big bait in.
Yeah.
I want to try finesse. Like, it opened me up to new things, this lockdown. Like, as soon as they were like, "Hey, you can go outside and do something," like, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go fishing. I'm gonna learn how to fly fish."
Isn't this a hell of a time to pick up, learn something new? Like, that's what I'm not getting with everybody.
No, it really is. Like, I'm doing so much stuff that I wouldn't do because I'd be playing sports right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I've been going on a lot of walks. That's pretty much, I just enjoy walking. But yeah, I don't know. I've never been fly fishing. That's actually cool that you brought that up, because my grandfather was really into fly fishing, and he would go for trout, and I've just never done it. So might be time to give it a try.
Put some waders on, you'll lose some weight.
Yeah, there you go.
They're warm.
Now, Drew Brees kind of yesterday, some stuff with Drew Brees. Again, it stinks because everything kind of gets back to politics and stuff. But Drew Brees had basically said the other day that he did not agree with the kneeling during the national anthem, gave his reasons. But players had kind of responded, said, we've told you we're not protesting the military. We're protesting social injustice, police brutality, and it's a peaceful protest. But Drew Brees still has the right to have an opinion, and he did kind of apologize. He's in a tough boat. What do you think of the whole thing? I mean, there's a lot of angry people with what he said.
So I think what he said was what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
And he got peer pressured to make an apology. Like that's how he felt. Like, for kneeling. That's how he felt. Like, everyone has their opinion to whatever they want. Drew Brees thought kneeling for the flag meant that you were disrespecting somebody. And that's what he thought. Like, everyone has a different perspective on everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing aligns. Like, nobody really rallies behind it.
Do you think that the interviewer kind of, in a way, set him up for that question?
It's tough because it was on what, Yahoo finance.
Finance. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Me
You know.
neither. Like
So
I don't even know if a Yahoo Finance can set people up. Like I think it
yeah,
was just like a by accident thing. But I don't think Drew Brees was expecting to come up against that at all in a finance forum. I think that he was just speaking his mind, having two grandfathers that served in the military and having people kneel at the flag. Like I mean, I kind of understand the movement, but I'm never gonna kneel to the flag as a veteran.
yeah, and it's a tough thing because it is a peaceful form of protest. So you really can't really. It's hard for me. It's you can't really get mad at that because we want people to peacefully protest. That's one version, and I don't feel Kaepernick said he had went to a veteran when he started to do that, and I forget the veteran's name, but he asked him because if you remember when Kaepernick first started, he was sitting, right? Oh, did you know the guy's name? I'm sorry.
No, I didn't know the guy's name. I know who I know who you're talking about though. He was a
So he
veteran.
went, yeah, he went from sitting, and then he said, "Well, if you really want to protest, I just feel like it'd be better if you kneeled." And they kind of meant a compromise. Um, so it's like the most complicated thing. I think Drew, what he said today was really genuine, that he feels for people and that he wants to understand more. But we do live in an age where you make a statement and everybody kind of jumps on it. And I don't think Drew Brees is a racist. I really don't.
Well, I mean,
Uh, I
90% of his players are black.
Yeah, I think he made a tone deaf statement, but I don't think that should be the end of Drew Brees. And I think what he said, I do think it was very genuine because I don't think he forced that. I think he said, "All right, maybe I'm misunderstanding." I don't know. It's complicated. I really think it is. I think it will blow over per se. But I mean, I heard people saying like, "This is it. Drew Brees is going to retire," and I go, I don't know.
No, he won't. He like like people can't attack somebody for their beliefs, even though it happens every day now.
Yeah.
Like it's insane that like all this division that's going on right now is more social media activated than anyone else activated.
Actually, that's going to bring up that I didn't have this question down, but do you think social media has a real impact on kind of dividing us? Do you think it's better to have real conversations like this than go back and forth on Facebook?
Oh, 100%. Like you and I had a conversation and you thought I was being rude to you and you wanted to delete me off of Facebook.
Yeah, I was like, well, because when I read it, I was like, that's a personal attack on me. And I think once we kind of talked, but that's the thing about Facebook, it does draw. You don't know the tone.
Exactly. And like I was asking you a genuine question and you were like, hey, look at the facts. And I was like, okay, I'll look. And then I was like, oh, this is what you said. But like I
I
was
think it.
never meant it to be an attack on you at all.
I took it at well, yeah, because I remember I think you started. You said that's fake news, and I go, no, it's not. And then I think we started going. And I was like, and we talked. But that is the issue. Like that's the thing is I like to troll people too, and sometimes it's just I don't know what it is. Like it's hard.
Well,
I think
so
especially
I
in the
mean,
lockdown.
a lot of these things that are happening, like you have all these people on the internet and like they'll say whatever the fuck they want. Or I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's okay.
Uh,
I do make this video for kids to watch too. Well, maybe we can
okay.
edit it.
But they'll say whatever they want and they have no repercussion. But if you were
Yeah.
to talk to me in my face and say that to me, you would not say it.
Yeah. No, it's true.
99% of people wouldn't say what they're saying now if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah, it causes a lot of just because anybody. The thing is too, you can't have straight up conversations because everybody else can chime in.
Yes, and you also get peer pressured into feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
Like I know that like Blackout Tuesday, for example, like everyone got so woke for Blackout Tuesday. Like, do they really know why they were doing that, or were they peer pressured into it?
It's probably like 60-40 because the idea was solidarity, and that's
No,
why people were doing it.
I understand what was happening, but
Yeah.
like I'm like I love all my black friends. I love all my interracial friends, everybody. But I'm not gonna throw up a black picture on my Facebook just to say I'm woke.
Yeah, I mean, I think there probably are people that were doing that to say, yes, I'm woke. Maybe. I think some people are just saying, hey, this is, what I can do to show support right now. It's a tough thing because social media is a weird thing. But you're right. There probably were people that did that weren't genuine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's social media is a weird thing. It's difficult, and it causes it's as fun as it can be. It can cause a lot of issues too. And hopefully John Nagel's suspension is almost up so that we can troll him again because he's been suspended I think he's been suspended like 45 days or something like that. So,
Okay.
yeah. Mike, what are your top 5 sports moments?
Okay, I had to write these down too because I know that you ask this question a lot.
I love this question.
So the first one that I have is the first moment I absolutely loved being a fan of Torrey Krug was in 2000, what was it, 13, 15, when Krug versus the Rangers, Hendrik Lundqvist so Torrey Krug got called out because the defense was battered, and Krug absolutely crushed Hendrik Lundqvist throughout that series. Like the first time he came in, he had 2 goals against him. Do you remember that?
Kind of. Hockey gets blurry for me, to be honest.
Okay. So maybe you remember this hockey moment.
Yeah.
Bruins in 2013 versus Toronto.
Yeah. Were we behind in that series? Because
4-1.
Yep. And Toronto, it never ends well for them. Yep.
10 minutes left. And they came back, tied it, and won in overtime.
Now, that was heartbreaking the year that they lost to the Blackhawks because I think the Blackhawks tied up the game, and I literally went to the bathroom and came back, and they're like, they scored again. I go, there's no way they scored that fast.
Yeah, no, like I mean that's how hockey goes. You never know what's going to happen. Any bounce can take a different angle. Like that's what I love about hockey. It's aggressive, it's fast, and it's unpredictable.
Yeah, agree. I mean, I do love the playoff hockey. I do.
What?
I do enjoy playoff hockey. I
It's
will
amazing.
say that.
So then let's go to football. 2015 Butler interception.
Hard to beat. I do like the Falcons one better, but that was unbelievable.
No. And that's my next one. It's not a moment. I mean, it's not a game. It's a moment. Yeah. Julian Edelman's catch.
That was unbelievable. You probably can't see because it's dark in here and it's far away, but that is hanging up in the background.
That is the most incredible catch I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I still can't really believe that how?
Yeah, exactly.
How did he do that?
It's will and determination.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And then the other one that I have is Betts' home run catch.
Yes. So that's your favorite for the Red Sox?
No, I mean, that's my 5.
All right. All right. How did you feel?
I mean, so when it comes to the Red Sox, if you're looking at like something iconic, like that Betts home run catch,
Yeah.
was very iconic because the police officer was in the background, hands up.
Oh yeah. I met him. I met him at the parade in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, no, I like that. I mean, and it's good when as a host, I don't want to jump on people's, picks, but I do think the Falcons one was just like, that's going to go down as one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
You know,
that was in no specific order. I was just doing it by sports.
okay. I do like those though. And good shout out to the Bruins because the Bruins not really come up on people's top five all that much. So that's going to bring us into politics. And a question I've been asking everybody. What does a good leader look like to you?
So a good leader to me, like from like what I went through in the military and everything like that, a good leader to me is somebody that disseminates information and lets whoever's underneath them do what they will with it. And if those people can't do it, they step in and make a change.
All right, yeah. So, would you be against a micromanager overall, and until it gets to that point, then essentially?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like for me, like when I was in the military, like when I was a private in like straight infantry unit,
Mm-hmm.
like I was micromanaged all the time. But as soon as I moved up and I made my way into a reconnaissance platoon, like I listened to my squad leader until I did something wrong, and then my platoon sergeant came down on me. It wasn't just like you're getting yelled at all the time, but like I think you got to treat everyone like adults until they don't act like adults.
Fair point. I agree. I agree with that. There's only so much you can do, but if it does get to that level, then you do have to step in. What do you think could fix the divide in the United States right now? If you were to think of anything, really.
I mean, for the most part, I think that the divide, like growing up in New Hampshire, like I don't really think there is a huge divide. Like, I mean, everyone that I grew up with, black, white, brown, tan, whatever you are, like there was no divide between us. Like we did what we did and kept going. Like
Yeah.
when I moved to Colorado and I was in the military, like it didn't matter what color you were. You do your job and keep going.
So
Like,
yeah, and I agree with that. And I don't think that we'd have just a racial divide, but politically, like I just feel like we're just, I guess you know what the thing is, like here in New Hampshire, we all can kind of disagree, but it doesn't really stop us from hanging out with each other, like or anything like that, like it might in some other places. I just feel like it's just so torn in ideas, but maybe that's just the way that we're built. I don't know.
well, I mean, that's the thing is like, so nowadays, especially with social media, like get back on that topic, I think that politics have been a lot worse than they used to be. Like, I mean, like I said earlier, middle and lean a little bit right. And from what I know, you're middle and lean a little bit left.
Yeah.
And like, but now that's not a thing. Like you're either left or right.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I hate it because that just it kills ideas, and it labels somebody that they might not actually be the thing that you're labeling them as. You know what I mean? I get, a lot of people, they call me, hey, you're a liberal. I go, hey, sorry. I said, I'm more of I'd identify more as a progressive, and I like progressive ideas. But that doesn't mean that I want to shut down. I want to hear all ideas, which essentially is why I have this show. I don't think I should just hear what I think, because I know what I think. I want to know what other people think.
No, exactly.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think the divide might have always been there, but we see it more in our face because all we have to do is look at our cell phone and see it in our face every day. I don't know if there's fixing. I don't know what could fix it. I really don't. But it's just something interesting. I just find to talk about. That brings us, into our own state. How do you feel Chris Sununu has done during COVID-19 as a job?
I think that like he's done a very good job.
I agree.
Like especially for one of the northern states. Like I don't think that we really knew what was going on or how it was gonna progress. And Sununu did kind of the middle thing. He just kind of let it play out, figure out what was going on, and then adjust off of what other people were doing. And I think that has made our state even better.
Yeah, I honestly, and I've said this on the show before. I was very critical of Chris Sununu early on, but because I didn't think he was getting what was happening. But he really has shown that he's a good leader, and that he had to make the tough decisions, even when people were going right on the state house to call him out. He stood his ground, and I think he's done a good job. I really do believe that. I was talking to someone the other day, and in general, Republican or Democrat, I feel like a lot of the governors and politicians of New Hampshire have been pretty good overall from our state. Not and again, not judging by political party, just seeing what I've seen out of them. I don't know. Other people might not feel the same. I feel in general, a lot of politicians in New Hampshire have done a good job.
Hey, live free or die.
Hey, it's the only way to, that's all we know. 2020 election. I know it's a little bit of ways away. I don't even know if we're going to have debates. How do you think that goes down? Not necessarily from your own political views, but how do you think it kind of goes? Like, what could lead to Biden winning? What could lead to Trump winning?
I mean, all the cards are stacked against Trump right now, like because media is playing a part. Like they're just attacking him at every corner they can, no matter what happens. Like, what's the coronavirus? Trump's virus. Like every time they say something, it's Trump's fault. But he was leading all economic growth before this happened. Unemployment, economic growth, and like going into this, if you keep Joe Biden in a basement and you can't talk to Trump, Joe Biden probably wins. Even though if you're not black, if you don't vote for him.
He did make I mean, I think they both. I'm not sold really on either one. I mean, obviously, if I got to pick one, I'm picking Biden. They both say crazy stuff. I mean, from my perspective, Trump says a lot more crazy stuff. But Biden, like, you hear that and you go, what are you saying right now?
I think Trump, or I think Biden does have something going on, an issue that is underlying that it's not going out right now.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that the Bernie voters could affect the election if they decide, you know what, we're not, we didn't get our guy, we're not showing up?
I don't. I think that I think that what the Democratic side is going to do is pull a vice president in that will pull Bernie supporters. And then, like, if Biden gets elected, if Biden gets elected, then it's going to be the vice president that's running the office.
So if you're all right, let's just take our political hats off. If you're a Bernie supporter, then who's the one that is the best fit if they're going to pull in your vote? Do you think it's Elizabeth Warren was pretty much was saying a lot of the same things as Bernie? So would she be the one?
All the left candidates were leaning that way. And just based off of that last comment that I was talking about that Biden said,
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about electing Kamala Harris.
I heard she was somebody referenced, but she was the one that attacked Biden more than anybody when this whole thing
Yes.
kind of started.
But I mean, whenever you say you're not black if you don't vote for me, who gets excited? Kamala Harris. Because Biden already said he was going to elect a female as a vice president. And now he just called out the black people for not voting. So who's he going to elect as his vice president?
Yeah, he's got some damage control there. I know Trump made a T-shirt about that. It's just our politics are just wild.
It's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah, I think we can both agree on that. It's going to bring me to my favorite segment of the show, blank versus blank. So I'm going to give you a word, a person, anything, and you got to pick one or the other and decide why. You got to pick one, Red Sox or Patriots.
Oof. I'm going to have to go Red Sox.
All right. That seems to be a lot of the answers. I still feel like this is a baseball area. And I love the Patriots, don't get me wrong.
But I mean, my reason behind it is like it's a lot harder to do what they did in that many games than what the Patriots have to do in a few games.
No, fair point. Two probably of our childhood heroes or around there. Barry Bonds or Ken Griffey Jr.?
Ken Griffey Jr.
I think everybody really, I mean, he made
that was our era. Mariners, Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod.
Like wearing your hat backwards, taking BP. No one did that before him. All right. I said I was going to mention Adam Sandler, and I think I'm going to get you with this one. This is going to be tough for you. Adam Sandler or Chris Farley?
I'm going to have to go with Adam Sandler. I really am.
More of a body of work because he lived, essentially.
Well, I mean, Chris Farley had a body.
Yeah. The physical comedy was really his thing.
Yeah, no, but Adam Sandler, like, I mean, like, even though a lot of people downplay his movies, I think they were great. A lot of them.
Yeah, you're not going to get me to really argue with that. I think he's had some bad ones, but his good ones were really, really good. I love Farley, but he doesn't have the body of work of a Sandler. He just doesn't. Now, as being more right-leaning, President Trump or President Bush? George W. Bush, I should say.
I'm gonna have to go with Trump.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he's done so much. Like I mean, back then, like for me, I wasn't very into politics, but growing up and understanding what was going on, like with what we were going through the Obama age and then going into Trump, like I think that Trump has done a very good job before all this kicked off.
It's interesting because a lot of right-leaning people, it could depend on the age bracket, because I've had a lot of people pick W. Bush over him, but they were older, and I don't know if that just plays a factor into.
Well, I also
you're more of you're an adult now than you were when he was president.
But I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to what you're looking for in a presidential candidate. Like, is he going to tell you the truth from the hip, or is he going to just gloss it over with cute words?
All right, fair. Softball or flag football? I know these are two of your passions.
I gotta go flag football.
And I believe I don't know if I had it right here. Two-time Turkey Bowl champ with the back-to-back with the 4 seats. Is it 3?
Might be 3.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Because I mean, we won the last one too.
Yeah,
Everyone got mad that we were able to put a team in.
there's always something. It's interesting because I was on the Ad Hominem podcast a couple weeks ago, and they've won two, and they asked who was the greatest team, and I said, there's a matchup that really needs to happen, and they kind of go by Team Sean Gill versus the Forsyth brother team. I don't know if we'll be able to play football by then, but maybe we need to have an all-star turkey bowl, bring some old teams back, and see how that goes.
We don't want to hurt you guys.
Yeah. Me, I'm limited with this bum shoulder. Patriots' success, was it more on Brady or more on Belichick?
So to preface this, I'm going to say Brady is clutch.
True.
But
Not going to argue there. I love Brady.
Belichick is the chess master. Like, he has to move those pieces into position and make them work.
So I've been asked this question before, and I said, well, Brady's the player. He's making the plays, but Belichick has shop for the groceries, and he's the one that put the teams together. So he's kind of got – I mean, he's not just the coach. He's the GM too. So, I mean, it's hard to go against that.
No, but, I mean, you can't put anything against Brady. Like,
absolutely not. Yeah.
So especially with quick run offenses,
mm-hmm.
Like, he's called his own game, but the person that put those players in those positions was Belichick.
No, I agree. It's something now that we're facing, and since Tom left us, I'll pick Belichick. Last question: better team to play on, the Kilt Crew or the Thunder Buddies?
That's another tough one because I put together the Kilt Crew with a bunch of friends of mine. And I think I introduced you to Nashua softball that way.
The Pipes that's how he made his entry.
Yeah. But I played on a team called the Thunder Buddies, and we won a championship.
I was there. It was one of the more fun series that I think I'd ever got to. It's kind of fun just sit down and watching and not playing. That was a fun series.
It was intense. Like, that's one of the most intense games I think I've played throughout my career of baseball and softball.
Yeah, and it was wild because no one ever thought Maffey's could be beat. Yeah. It's funny because Josh and Mike Schultz, they had asked. They said you should do a 30 for 30 type of segment for the show, where we talk about our rec sports, moments and stuff like that. I said, all right, but I said, the only thing I'll do it, you got to get somebody from Maffey's to agree to do it because I want to hear what was going through their minds too. So we'll see if it happens. But anyways, Mike, I really appreciate you coming on the show. That was a lot of fun. And everybody listening, yes, we're going through tough times. We don't know where things are going, but continue to keep your heads up. And until next time, let freedom ring.